champions, Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Phixated podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzolina, and I am joined by the man who has carried me on his back for 750 downloads, Regsy, baby.
I don't know about that, man. I'm just...
We are here.
I am just, the Sally to your Harry is all I am.
Did you just make a When Harry Met Sally reference?
I did.
On the Phixated podcast? That is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, we could have gone Utley to our Rollins. We could have gone...
There was a lot of different
Doc
ways.
to our Chooch,
Listen, This is why this is we record this live. We just do this off the cuff.
Instead, you went Sally to my Harry. Holy moly, we did it. Well, Regs, I missed you last week, buddy.
I miss you too, buddy, but I'm very happy that you had a nice time on vacation. Well-deserved. A well-deserved vacation.
What a great place. Punta Cana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great place. Great people. Very kind. A lot of fun. A lot of beer.
Where'd you end up at? Which hotel?
Secrets,
Perfect.
Royal Beach.
Love it.
There are two secrets in Punta Cana. There's Royal Beach and Cap Cana.
Okay.
We ended up at Royal Beach based on Andrea's friend who's a travel agent said that she enjoyed her experience there. So that's where we ended up. All in all, great trip. I think it rained one time for a total of 4 minutes.
Awesome.
And I was burnt on day 3, probably. I was, pretty red.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is now Malibu Andrea, and I am a French fry with ketchup on it. Is essentially where we're at. But really good time, really relaxing, great food, great entertainment. Just an overall good time. Regs, I feel like the 7 of us should take on an all-inclusive.
Yeah, I think this is one of this is going to end up being one of your better ideas that you've ever had in your whole life. I think.
Really though,
yeah,
right?
I think so, because I think we're at that age where. So look, I'd never been to an all inclusive until I met my now wife. Mm-hmm. Her and her mother were all about it, and so of course, as we got into college, and I started going on a few vacations with them. This is the only place they went. And I was like, well, I don't understand. What do you mean? I don't have to pay for anything. I just ask for whatever I want all the time. And they're like, yeah, that's what you do. It's like, well, this sounds great. And yeah, now I can't get off of them. We're already looking at some for our 10-year anniversary trip. We're trying to take 4 days in August around our wedding anniversary and just go to an all-inclusive somewhere, quick flight, and just chill for 4 days by ourselves. So I love them now. And I think the 7 of us with significant others at an all-inclusive would be an unbelievable time.
So which one of us doesn't come back?
Oh, well, there's a 70% chance Stein forgets his passport somewhere. I mean, I think he's in Greece right now for his honeymoon.
But why does nobody know where he is?
I don't know. I haven't texted him yet. I've just been seeing the Instagram posts.
It looks like they're in Greece.
I'm pretty well. You put the Drake song "Grease" on
yeah.
So I'm
but
pretty
this
sure
is
that's
how he
where
does things.
Also.
He doesn't tell us. He just leaves these little Easter eggs everywhere. It's unbelievable. All right, so that's a fair one. I think he probably ends up having to stay behind because he loses his passport.
There's a 50% chance Phil gets put in jail for a night or two. Hotel jail, not real jail.
Right. They put him in a courtesy room for the night.
He dances too hard
that.
on some waitress or something happens. He gets up on stage when he's not supposed to. Something like that. Nothing egregious or law breaking, but just certainly conduct.
Probably put into hotel jail by TK.
Conduct unbecoming. Certainly
his wife puts him in.
Yeah.
Although they were at an all inclusive the same week Andrea and I were at an all-inclusive.
Nice.
They were in Antigua.
Got it.
When we were in Punta Cana.
Nice.
And he made it back. So now with all of us, I don't know.
That's see, I feel like it's a different story when we get together.
Which one of us becomes dad?
There's a good chance it's me.
You think so? I was gonna say Banksy.
See, the thing about Banksy is that might be true, but when you put him with Stein in a no responsibility situation, like it's different at Stein's wedding. Stein has to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't sort of feed off each other how they normally would. But if you get the two of them in a no responsibility situation, I think like that Banksy turns up a notch. Like you weren't at the bachelor party, but I sort of had to keep that Banksy under wraps.
Yeah.
You know
Rub
what
it
I mean?
in, Regs. Rub it in.
Well, listen, it was your choice. I didn't do anything about it. You're an adult. You can live with it that you didn't come for some stupid testing for elementary school kids.
Okay. So
I think also, yeah. And I think also because my wife is not a big drinker when she does at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I like, and of course, over the years, my drinking has gone, or my crazy drinking has gone down.
Sure.
Like I don't get drunk anymore. Like even at Stein's wedding, I didn't get drunk. I had a perfectly paced amount of drinks, and Wright was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Same thing in Vegas. I didn't get drunk one night. I was like probably really close on the Saturday night, but all the other nights you just find that area right and you just chill.
All right, Papa Regs then. Papa Regs.
Yeah, I mean the real answer is probably Josh, just because.
No, I disagree.
Just because he's the most sensible of us all.
I disagree. I think Josh would have a great time because I think Irene would let the hair down, and I think then Josh would as well.
That would be a treat.
Because I can see I just can see like Irene having a really great time. I can see, I can absolutely.
That would be a treat if we get a little 2000 like
2005,
2005 Josh.
2006 Josh, yeah. Okay, do all of us come back with our wedding rings and wives still intact?
I think yes. I think because we're all 35 or just about 35. That I think so. I think yes. I think I think we understand the value of our wives and our wedding rings. I think it's been long enough that we're used to them now. Of course we want, and again, you even said, and this was nothing against our wives or significant others. You're like, well, is it just the 7 of us? And I'm like, I think we're at the age where a trip like that, we're bringing the significant others and the wives.
I mean, what an adventure it would be.
It would be an adventure. That's for sure.
I mean, this only lends itself to one thing. The Market Summit podcast.
Right. We're going to get that off the ground here.
All right. Well, I think it's probably just going to have to start with me, you, and Pax.
Listen, I think we could wrangle in Stein for a night or Phil for a night. We're only on here for an hour.
Stein wouldn't know what to do. He'd be like, what do I do with my hands?
Well, I'd have to take the first 20 minutes before we recorded to like get him hooked up to all the technology and figuring all that crap out. But
20 minutes?
I'm being generous.
You're being very generous. We'll be on here. We'll be hearing Becky yelling at him in the background.
I think Phil would do it. I think Phil would be pretty easy to get on. I think Ryan would be easy to get on.
Phil would have a blast doing this.
He would. I think Ryan would be easy to get on. Josh, of course, works like a maniac, so he would probably be the toughest one.
That would be a very special episode. That would be like the golden edition episode.
Yeah, right.
Get Josh on.
That would be when we would have all 7 of us.
Yeah.
Other than that, it'd be a smattering of like 3 here, 2 here, 4 there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get it worked out. We'll put a Google sheet together with a schedule. We'll figure it out.
I mean, I got to tell you, it could be something else. I know a lot of people really enjoy the parts of these shows where we talk about this stuff.
That's incredible because I'm shocked that people don't just like use the skip button on their phones.
No. I there's a teacher at the school that I'm at, and he says all the time that he loves when we tell stories about our like roommates. It's like it's one of his favorite parts of the podcast.
That's great. We got plenty more.
Shout out, Randy.
Yeah, good for you, Randy.
Randy, if we ever do the Market Summit podcast, we'll let you just have a front row seat to the 7 of us talking. It'll be a night you won't forget.
That's right. Yeah. Listen, that's great because I know we love doing it. It's a great way to like jump into everything and just, reminisce, which is always fun. But I'm glad some people enjoy it because I know we do.
I'm already envisioning like a special guest night where like Daddy-O comes on.
I mean, if Daddy-O will never be able to work the computer well enough to figure. We're gonna have to catch him when he's like with Stein or with Ryan, like when they can help him out.
I mean, Ryan being on it would be something.
Well, yeah, that's for sure.
That's something. All right, hey, should we talk about Philly sports or?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, we could keep going all night, but let's talk a little bit about. So wait, before we talk about the actual sports, can we talk about Sunday night, July the 3rd at Citizens Bank Park for a second? Yes, we can. I mean,
do you want to do the good or the bad first?
The good is that Zach Wheeler is an absolute monster, and Reese Hoskins had a big night, clearly, but that's the good. 2 out of 3.
The fireworks were good.
We didn't stay.
Okay, so we did, obviously. We brought all the boys, even the little one, the 3-year-old. Right. We didn't get home till 1 a.m.
Worth it.
They loved it. It was great.
Good. We were way too tired.
Yeah.
From being back, and I kind of wanted to avoid sitting in traffic with as tired as I was. I had Joseph with me, which is a whole, another layer.
We've been on a 10-hour, two-way 10-hour car ride with him, so I'm aware.
True.
That's another story for another opening of a podcast.
Oh my gosh, it absolutely
is.
Probably
related. That's sports related, at least.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, I mean, the atmosphere in the stadium. I said as soon as we walked in, like the vibes are great here tonight. And 44,225 people there. Just a wild energy, and there were a good number of Cardinal fans there, like a smattering of Cardinal fans.
I turned to Angela and I said, "Remember when it used to be like this all the time? Every game, no matter what day."
But I got to tell you, Regs, and this is why I'm bringing it up, and this is gonna sound so bad because I so badly want them to be good again, and I want that stadium to be packed, and I want that energy.
But I think there's a key difference that after your point, I think we need to discuss. So continue.
It was a different kind of crowded. And I understand that the fireworks are a thing and people want to experience that, and they should. Like no one should not go to the game because I'm bitter and old man on my get off my lawn moment here. Like people should be able to enjoy themselves and go. But I've been going to that stadium for over a decade. And as a season ticket holder, I mean, I've been going forever. I've been going for over 30 years. But as a season ticket holder, I've been going to that stadium for over a decade. It's been 12 years that I've had the season tickets. Okay. For 2 of those years, they were good. The rest of those years, I've sat in an empty stadium, my legs up on the chair, plenty of room, walk right through line to get whatever I want for dinner, for lunch, whatever, and not have to worry about anything. The amount of people who were just clueless to what was going on in the stadium on Sunday night was out of control. Yeah. Like, people were stopping in the middle of the concourse trying to figure out where they were. People in line, they'd get up to the front and they'd be like, well, where are the hot dogs? It says there are hot dogs here. Buddy, they're down the line. Like it clearly says hot dogs right there. Like if it's not right here, move down the line. Trying to order, like it's not an order station. You go and you pick up your I know I sound like a jerk, and I'm not trying to. I'm really not. It's just it's frustrating. I spent 3 innings in line.
Yeah.
And
yep.
And it wasn't all because of the workers. Like it was. I know they're shorthand. I get it. I know they're short staffed. Everybody's short staffed. But it wasn't that. It was the clueless nature of people who haven't stepped foot in that stadium for probably 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And to me, that it's fine. You went for fireworks night, whatever. But the dude standing behind me in line that didn't even know Bryce Harper was hurt. And when someone told him and he asked how long, I'm like, bro, why are you here? Like, what is it? Like, we're back to Citizen, like, again, if we get back to a place where Citizens Bank's a cool place to be because they're good, fine. I'll deal with it. I'll be fine. I've had 10 years of being spoiled, and I know I sound like a spoiled brat right now. I know I do, Regs. I know I do. But like, I feel like I'm doing my Phixated at the beginning of the show is what I feel like I'm doing. If you're going to come, have a clue. So if you're going to come, have a clue. I also got mad because I saw a guy wearing a Jake Arrieta's jersey, and I almost vomited in line.
That's terrible.
I almost got sick.
That might make my point even more.
Go for it.
This was clearly a crowd who was there because Monday was a day off for most people. It was fireworks night.
Mm-hmm.
And those, like, this weird mass of people showed up to this game not because there was a baseball game going on.
Right.
Not because Zach Wheeler was pitching in Sunday Night Baseball against Adam Wainwright.
Right. Which is an awesome pitching matchup.
It is.
Come on.
Not because, Phillies are going for their 5th or 6th or 7th series win, Right. That was purely a crowd. And it's a perfect example, right? Who pulled out the last Phillies thing they ever bought, which was 7 to 10 years ago, and threw it on because they have not been to a baseball game since then. Mm-hmm. And the last time they did, they just happened to get a seat, like, because someone offered it to them when the Phillies were really good, and the stadium was like that. But when the stadium was like that 10 or 12 years ago, it was full of people who wanted to be there because the baseball team was so good. Mm. It wasn't a bunch of people who just showed up to watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
And I think
there were probably a little bit of,
that's the class of fan we were talking about.
Yeah.
Who predominantly showed up. I'm not saying more people showed up because it was Sunday Night Baseball, or they were a Cardinals fan, in the area, wanted to see Wainwright pitch. Great. Happy to have you there. Please come back again.
Yeah.
But 80% of the people were the people you talked about who didn't know that Bryce Harper was hurt or how long he was going to be out, or were wearing a Jake Arrieta jersey, or haven't been in a line in Ashburn Alley in 10 years. I spent 3 innings in the Chickies and Pete's line just to get through it, because when I went to the other lines, the credit card machines broke and they weren't giving away food. So, I'm with you on the night it was. Luckily, I want to be careful here, because I certainly, I want the stadium to be packed. It's only good for the baseball team if that happens. There's a difference though.
Yeah, I think, there was an energy in the stadium, and it got stronger as the game went on. Like, you could tell people were getting more. And I think back during their run, there was, I think the percentage flipped. Like 80 to 90% of the people there were there to watch the baseball game, and then you had your 10 to 20% that like didn't really, care a whole lot about what was going on, and we're just there because it was the cool thing to do. And I think it made it easier back during the run, because not everybody was standing in line in the middle of the game. Right. It wasn't a line that basically, I'm not kidding you. We were standing behind home plate, and when I walked that part of the concourse, I was like, I'm not waiting in these lines. I'm going to go up and buy my season tickets. No one's going to be up there. And the line was from, I don't know if you've ever been up to my seats, but I sit in section 420. So right behind 420, there's a couple of stands that go to the escalator in the right field corner. Okay. That's basically okay. So the first section there, the first concession stand, that's the place that I was going. I got up the escalator and I took about 10 steps, and the line was there. Yeah. And dude, that's almost half a football field. Yeah. It's almost a 50-yard, and that's just the back of the line. It didn't count the weaving, and I mean, it was absolutely wild how long that line was. And I was so frustrated standing in it. So thankfully I had the sweet sounds of Scott Fransky, of course, to listen to. So, I mean, again, I know I'm sounding bitter, angry, old man. I know it's good for the baseball team to have that kind of a crowd. I know it is. For them to feel the energy, whether it was firework related or what. It's a positive. It's good for them. Yeah. That being said, I want it to be back to baseball crowds.
Yeah,
that's
for
what I
sure.
want. I want baseball crowds back. I won't be mad if until like September if I'm still there on a Sunday and can just walk right through the line.
Right.
That won't frustrate me very much. So, if people want to stay away until the playoff run, then totally cool. Good with that. We're going to get to that playoff run here in a little bit. We're going to jump ship though, over to the Sixers. Do we want to start with like the party question or do you just want to talk about the Sixers real quickly?
We can start with the party question.
All right. I think this is kind of actually, no, let's start with the party question.
All right.
Listen, so
you're the host.
Right.
I just go where you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'm going to change my mind again. I'm definitely having a night. I'm having a night. So let's just talk about the offseason. So when I was away, free agency open.
Yep.
That we had talked beforehand that if there was some kind of big deal or something like that you would jump on and do something quickly. There was rumor at that point, right, about Kevin Durant possibly being traded. That's, still kind of
it's still a
thing out there, isn't it? Like we're still hearing about it,
for sure.
Of course. But we know at the draft they added DeAnthony Melton. We talked quite a bit about that during the draft. And again, I think that's going to be something for them that will be helpful. And I still think that they're shopping Matisse because of this deal. This is basically, they're trying to get Matisse Thybulle 2.0 essentially here.
Yeah, I mean,
but a little bit better of offense.
Matisse and Harris have to be out there. Daryl's making phone calls on those guys.
I'd assume so.
I'm sure.
So DeAnthony Melton defensively is not as elite as Matisse Thybulle. Let's not try and pull wool over people's eyes. He's still a very solid defender because of his length.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that before. Last year he averaged about 23 minutes a game. Looking for his 3-point numbers. He shot about 37. He shot 37% from three on 5 attempts a game, which is pretty good. And they need that kind of wing shooting.
I mean, look, it's better than
right off the bat
5 that Thybulle was shooting. Like,
I mean, yes, and that's where you're gonna get the upgrade. I mean, he's going to be a downgrade defensively because everybody's going to be a downgrade from Matisse Thybulle, maybe with the exception of Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know that we'll notice it as much. Like, I know Matisse was special defensively, but I think watching any normal NBA game, there's not really a Matisse Thybulle in all those games, right? Like,
no, you're just looking for a guy who's above average defensively.
And I think that's what you're getting in Melton.
Which this team needs. This team needs above average defenders, not below average defenders.
Right.
So Matisse was obviously an outlier, but his inability to be able to play in the last 10 minutes of a game because of his just complete lack of offense.
Right.
At least you're getting a guy who can spot up for an outed double team pass from Joel or a quick rotation or a quick swing from like Joel to Harden to Maxey, right? To one more, you make the one more pass to a guy who's wide open.
Right. Right.
And that turns into a good shot instead of just a nothing where Matisse grabs the ball and just stands there because he doesn't want to do anything.
Sure.
So I think that's what you're looking at.
And I think, I mean, he's hyper athletic.
Yep. Young.
And again, he's younger than Matisse. And again, 37% from three. And I think that's important. They kind of loaded up in that regard. We talked a little bit in the playoffs or after the playoffs and even during that Heat series. And we talked about how Joel really wanted a dog. And he specifically mentioned one man by name when he was talking about going and getting a dog. And Daryl Morey was listening because he went and got the dog.
Yep.
He went and got PJ Tucker.
Yeah. So I think this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think PJ has sort of defied the odds with how well he played, especially last year for his age. What is he, 37?
He's going to be 37.
Okay. That's an unheard of number in modern NBA basketball. For someone who's not a LeBron James. LeBron's going to play till he's 43 probably and still be really good at basketball. But the way that PJ Tucker was able to play defense in that Miami, like in all the Miami series at his age, is unbelievable. I mean, again, he's not someone offensively that is going to do much, but when you look for that toughness factor that Joel was talking about, this is that guy. And listen, the flip side of that coin is, could he really just turn into a 37-year-old guy this season? Yes. You know,
he will.
There's a good chance. If
3 years, $30 million.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot of years. It's just, there's a very good chance that maybe he's still good this year and really falls off a cliff at any point. It could just happen. But I'm hoping if they can manage his minutes properly and have him rested and in good shape for the playoffs, that I think PJ Tucker has learned how to maximize his minutes and be as effective as he can coming off the bench for, 15 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game, and just being that defensive guy, that hustle guy. And as long as you manage that correctly, I think you could maximize his potential. Now, with Doc Rivers still being our coach, I'm not super enthused that he's going to know how to do that. But maybe some analytics kid in the back room put together a plan for Doc and he actually follows it. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, he averaged 28 minutes a game this year.
That's a lot. I feel like that doesn't have to be that much.
I don't think it has to be with this team.
I don't think it does.
And here's why. I mean, you're gonna give George Niang minutes this year. They're not signing. I mean, Morey's been pretty outright about not signing a veteran center. So those minutes are going to Bassey. You still have B-Ball Paul, who's going to get minutes at the 4.
Yep.
George Niang, I mentioned already. D'Anthony Melton, we've talked about. We're going to get into Daniel House Jr. here in a little bit. So depending on what happens with like Tobias and Matisse, I don't know that there's a ton of minutes for PJ Tucker available. And if you're going to give him 12 to 15 minutes a game to just go out there and be a dog and then really unleash him in the playoffs to frustrate the other team's best player for 12 to 15 minutes,
scenario.
I think that's what it's, and that's, I think, what Joel wanted, because when you think about what he did in the playoffs to like Harden, what he did to Maxey, like what he did to Toby at times, like they just put him on guys to frustrate him, and that's what he did. He got in Joel's ear a couple times too. Like, he's not afraid to bang. And
no,
look, you're right. Offensively, he's not gonna. Now, he crushed us from 3 in that series. He crushed us from 3.
Anomaly.
That's an anomaly though, because I'm looking at his numbers, and he only shot like three threes a game, and I mean, he was 42% this year, which is a career high for him. He's usually, he's all over the board, but usually around like 35, 36, 37%, it looks like. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not, it's a lot of money at his age.
Yes.
A lot of years at his age, but a career, they don't have his career 3-point percentage. Let me see here. Just going to scroll down a little bit. I want to say career 36%. That's not bad.
No,
that's not bad. Again, trying to add that around. So let's jump over to man, I can't look at this name the way that it's spelled and say it the right way. I keep like wanting to say it differently, but Daniel House Jr., who I was very excited about, Regs. Again, another sort of like 3-and-D type, it looks like. He's only 28 though. I thought he was older than that. Again, a former Houston Rocket, as is PJ Tucker. And D'Anthony Melton was too. And so is the guy they got from the G League and signed Trevelyan Queen. So again, that whole Daryl Morey's just rebuilding the Rockets.
The 2017 Rockets.
Is basically what we're looking at here. But last year he played in 3 different cities. He started the year in Houston. played one game in New York as Nick. How'd that happen?
That's
interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
And then played 25 games in Utah. So he is a career 37% 3-point shooter. Again, they're definitely trying to add that ability to shoot. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So again, he's like a 2 or 3, so more of a wing player. He'll come off the bench, spell. He doesn't score a whole lot. Averages career like 23, 24 minutes a game. So, I think, what Daryl Morey did was add some defense, some dogs, some shooters to spread the floor a little bit. Especially when, Maxey has to blow or James has to blow. They're trying to find some guys who can still make people think on the way. But I think the other thing about this is they've gotten a lot more athletic. PJ Tucker aside, because Melton's pretty athletic, House is athletic, and this Queen kid's pretty athletic. I don't know if he'll make the team or not. I think he will, but they still have Shake too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more athleticism on this roster. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of. Listen, they needed to revamp the depth somehow. Mm-hmm. Whether this is going to be the right way to do it, we'll obviously wait and see.
Right.
I think we're happy with the type of player that Daryl is trying to get. I think, but there are some, like PJ Tucker is a risk, given his age.
Sure.
And sort of him setting his own expectations on his performance, which good for that guy, right? It got him paid till he's going to be 40 years old, right. Making $10 million. So good for him. But I think it was a big talking point on that pod that we had after the Sixers lost, when we're looking at the Milwaukees or the Bostons or the Miamis on the types of players that need to be on your team during a playoff run. And I think we're moving that direction. I think it's good that Daryl has been moving that direction. I don't think they're done with changing this roster. And I hope that these have been the tiny pebbles, right, to start. And hopefully we can add some bigger rocks as we move forward.
So I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you to put a percentage on this guy will be a Sixer come opening night. Okay. Tobias Harris. Put a percentage on it that he'll be a Sixer.
20.
Okay. Matisse Thybulle.
20.
Tyrese Maxey.
100.
Okay. So you're saying Kevin
Durant? I take that back.
95. Then. Okay. Because I do think there's that small chance that
Kevin
if
Durant,
things fall the right way,
I don't think
Tyrese. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think but so like either. if things fall the right way,
I'll say 95.
And the Nets come calling and saying, "Look, we'll do it, but you have to include Maxey." I don't see any way that Tyrese Maxey is a Sixer. But I would agree. I was actually gonna say like 2% because I just don't see Kevin Durant coming our way. I put Matisse probably at 8% to be a Sixer.
It's fair.
And I put Toby at like 12.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't see either one of them being here. I think it's a very I'd actually probably put Matisse Tobias closer to like 5, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think that's a contract they're going to try and get out from under.
For sure.
I just don't know who starts in that spot because I don't think it's.
You Tucker. Have to use that contract to get back 2 players that either of them could start at that position, or they're going to split time at it. Right. I think that has to be your goal.
Yeah, I was kind of. There was a free agent. I'm drawing a blank on who it was. That plays the 4. I want to say, is it in Milwaukee or Minnesota? It might be in Milwaukee. It'll come to me. But he was a free agent. He re-signed. But I was kind of hoping that he would be the guy. his name will come to me. I'm just drawing up like he wears a headband. I can see him, and it's not coming to me right now. But it will. So those are the three I think are most likely to go. Maybe a Ferk could end up on his way out. I don't see Shake going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think they really like Shake, and he can be a ball handler for them. He's not a great one, but he can start the offense. If maybe Tyrese isn't playing or James isn't playing. But that would be, and it's interesting to me that the James Harden deal is not done yet either. That's interesting to me.
I mean, it's got to be about the money, right?
Well, yeah, but we already know he's taking the cut. So why hasn't it happened?
They have to be. I would have to think that
Bobby Portis. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, I have to think that Daryl is figuring out the other moves that are on the table, so they can maybe see what that number has to be.
Okay,
is my guess, because if there's a potential that maybe they can flip Tobias and Thibault into something, again, you have to match salaries at decent, in the NBA. Yeah. But
I just can't keep track of the cap.
No, me neither. But
yeah,
that's my only guess is that Daryl's trying to figure out exactly what number helps him the most, and I'm sure that's a negotiation because Daryl's going to want James to take less so he has more wiggle room, and James and his agents are going to want a little bit more, right? That's just that's what they're paid to do. That's their job. So I'm sure there's some back and forth going on between them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I we'll talk a lot more about this, and we're hoping to get our guests on here soon, to give us, their thoughts. But I definitely don't see Matisse. Definitely not Matisse. Toby, possibly, depending on what's available.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time seeing Tyrese Maxey in any other uniform. Did you see what the kid who got really upset about? Did you see this on Twitter? There was a kid whose dad recorded himself telling his son that there's a rumor that the Sixers could get Kevin Durant, and the kid got all excited, and he said, but they're going to have to trade Tyrese Maxey, and the kid started crying.
I did not see that.
And Maxey saw it and surprised him in a video chat. It's really cool.
Good for Tyrese.
That's really awesome. Well done by Tyrese. Awesome. Yep. Seriously, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Really, I love it. I love it so much. All right, so let's do our party thing here. So for those of you who are living under a rock, like Regs, and didn't know this, former Sixers owner just sold his share. He owns Fanatics, the sports merchandise company that guy's a billionaire, has a house in the Hamptons. And this past week, the 4th of July weekend, he had a whiteout party. And at that party, I mean, not just your typicals, but Regs was looking up the list earlier, Jay-Z and Beyonce were there. And
Jay-Z was there, freaking, what's her name? Jenner,
Kendall, Kylie, whoever it was. That means Ben Simmons wasn't there.
No.
Poor Ben. Oh man. So
if Jay-Z is at your party, you're on a different stratosphere.
You're doing all right.
Yeah.
But also at that party and performing was Meek Mill.
Yep.
And Meek Mill wasn't alone on stage. On stage with him were James Harden, Joel Embiid, PJ Tucker, Tyrese Maxey, and I think there might have been another Sixer that I'm drawing a blank on. But I mean, not only did it scream this team's camaraderie is going to be through the freaking roof when the time comes. These guys are already loving their lives together, which is great to see. But it begged the question of if you could party with any 4 Philadelphia athletes, current Philadelphia athletes, who would you choose? So I asked Regs to come up with his 4. I have 4, and we're going to do what we did with the Mount Rushmore. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this. I don't know. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to try and do this. If you say one of mine, I will. Thanks, Puff. I will.
Pick someone else.
I'll try and think of somebody else. Yeah, okay. I'll try and do
then
it totally. So
i
I'll let you go.
You go first this time.
Oh, you want me to go
first?
I want you
to go first.
All right, so I'm gonna go with my first pick, Jason Kelsey.
Nice.
I mean, seriously, that guy, he's clearly a good time. Did you see him doing the guest bartending in Seattle City?
No.
So he does for their autism charity. He does like a yearly event where he goes and does like a guest bartending, and he brings his brother, and he brings like one player, and he brought Jordan Mailata with him.
That's awesome.
And he was playing like flip cup and taking shots with people, and like he was there like all day.
That's
like
awesome.
He was just in Sea Isle all day, and they were like all these different bars, bartending, doing karaoke. Like, so definitely he's number one.
That's a fantastic choice.
Thank you. You're up.
Mine, I'm gonna go with the same team just so we can kind of keep it moving.
Okay. And we said that it could be whatever you could pick 4 Eagles. We talked about that.
Shout out to the hockey fans who might listen to this podcast. I don't know why you do, but I'm not picking a Flyer because I don't know any of their names.
Yeah.
So just FYI. So shocker, Kelsey was my pick for the Eagles also. But my second pick was going to be the big man to his right, Mr. Lane Johnson.
Oh, that's a good one.
That dude could get after it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And here's a very good kicker for you Regs fans out there. I'm not the biggest guy in the room anymore. So no one's messing with me if I am standing next to Lane Johnson.
I mean, here's the thing. Probably everybody we pick here is probably bigger than you.
Yeah, even better. Great.
Maybe not Kels. Maybe not Kels.
He's like 6'2"-ish, right? He's something.
Yeah, probably. All right. I'm going to go across the street.
Yeah.
And so this one I'm not doing because he's in another stratosphere right now. I'm doing it because every time I see this dude during batting practice, he's wearing American flag shorts. he's got the tank on.
Yep.
And after the game on July 3rd, in his post game interview, they asked Reese Hoskins about like what they were doing on the 4th of July. He said what they were having, like some of the guys were getting together with their like wives and stuff. And they asked who was on the grill. And he goes, well, Schwarbs has been talking a big game, so he's on the grill, and I hope he lives up to it. So Kyle Schwarber, I know that guy can throw him back, and he can be on the grill all day at my party.
Yep.
He can grill all day, drinking his Bud Lights, his Bud Heavies, whatever he wants to drink. And then I'm just going to, we're going to play some wiffle ball. He's going to hit bombs off.
Yep.
So that's my number 2.
I love that. So I went a little bit of a different way here, and I'll hope you permit me. And if I need to pick another one, I will. I have a backup. But
all right,
my pick from across the street is the Crucker. Give me John Kruk all day long.
I guess he's current because he's on the broadcast.
So listen, right? I understand. I went a little bit sideways.
I'll let it go.
But if I had to pick a current player, if you want me to pick an actual player on the team,
wasn't ready for this.
It's gonna be Harper.
Okay, you think Harper would be a good time?
Because that dude in Las Vegas, we're gonna get into anywhere.
Oh, good point.
We're gonna get into anywhere. We're gonna get any and everything for free. And just give me that dude in Las Vegas and us bouncing around to every club in the world.
All right.
But if you want my true choice for my style, like a backyard barbecue at someone's house, give me the Cruckster all day long.
Okay. All right. I mean, that'd be funny as hell. Like he and Lane Johnson would just rip it up, dude.
What other guys would you want together?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And you know what? He's old enough that my whole ending the party at 11 wouldn't be weird. Because I don't think Crucker's not staying up till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
He's going to get after it. He's going to get after it during his 8 to 11. Yeah. And I'm all in for that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with a Sixer here.
Yep. Bouncing back across the street.
Yeah. And then I'll round it out with a double up on one of the teams. All right. I'm between 2 Sixers. Okay. I'm going to do this for the same. Yeah.
I love how you're thinking about this so much. I love it.
I am, because I'm being a little strategic.
Okay.
A little strategic
All right.
here. I'm gonna go with this guy for no. Yeah, you know what? I'm taking Joel.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's the best choice.
Well, here's why I wasn't gonna take him, because I was thinking about James getting me into everywhere, but Joel can get me in anywhere I want to go.
No offense.
And listen,
no offense to James Harden. I don't want to hang out with James Harden.
I need Joel Embiid just ordering Shirley Temples everywhere.
Yep.
That's what I need.
Yep.
That's what I need. Okay, so you're up.
So if I need to pick a Sixer,
you don't have to. You don't have to.
I want to. I want to pick a Sixer.
I want to.
I want to pick a Sixer. I want Tyrese.
Okay. Yeah,
just that energy. Like if
Yeah.
I'm bringing Lane and Kruk to the party, Tyrese,
he's a much cooler Azzy.
Tyrese is the vibe of any.
He's a much
party.
cooler Azzy.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel like I have that childish energy.
That's exactly what it is.
Mhm.
That is what he would bring. He would be smiling all over the place. He'd be talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone at the party would be having a good
That's fair.
time.
It's like me on a golf course.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a great analogy.
It's like me on. I just smile. I talk to everybody. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
I
think
Tyrese
he would just be a great time.
Tyrese is a good one. That's a really good one. I would not take Tobias Harris. He feels angry all the time.
Yeah. No.
All right. So I'm gonna go for my last one. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the link.
Okay. I was thinking the same thing, so I'll be interested in what you say here.
And I'm between two. I'll tell you both of them.
Well, no, tell me one, because I don't want you to take mine. If mine's your second choice.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to take both of them.
I know, but if you say it, then mine has no meaning.
I love that we're arguing about this, by the way. All right, I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
Nice.
And I'll tell you why, because every group needs that really chill, laid back dude, who is just sitting in the corner, kind of hanging back in his chair, smirking, telling with his dry sense of humor, and that's how I see Jalen Hurts. Can you just picture him when he was QB1 at Bama in Oklahoma, being the Godfather in the corner of the room?
Yeah, he's never wanted to be the center of attention.
Right. And that, I feel
when you walked into the room, he was the first one you looked at.
Right. So I feel like in a group where I have Joel Embiid,
and Kelsey,
you need the balance.
Yep.
And so I'm taking Jalen Hurts. He's my fourth person in my party.
I love that.
Who's yours?
Fletcher Cox.
That was my other one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my other one. Good one. Yeah.
I just think him and Lane Johnson together would be an unbelievable duo.
That's a good one.
With Maxey keeping the vibes up and Cruckers just being that guy.
That's a good one.
Who's telling all the stories and just being hilarious. I have my perfect party.
All right. So, you do. You have a really cool crew. So Regs' party crew, Lane Johnson, John Kruk, Tyrese Maxey, Fletcher Cox. My party group, Jason Kelsey, Kyle Schwarber, Joel Embiid, Jalen Hurts. So if you're listening, you want to put it in the comments, who would be your 4-person party? Please do. I'd love to see if anybody has something
Let
different.
us know in the YouTube comments, reply on Twitter to the episode link.
Yeah, make sure I'll put it on the Facebook page. You can throw it on there.
Make it a poll on the Facebook page. See what people like better. Yeah.
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Which group they'd rather party with.
Like
and
better.
I'll put an other on there if you want to add your own.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll see what people say. And soon we'll have maybe we'll get some merch for a winner or something like that. We're close.
We're getting there.
We're close,
right? The wheels are moving. The wheels are
moving. Speaking of the wheels moving, they're moving in a good direction for those Phightins, baby.
It is.
5 games over.
Yep. The loss last night was tough.
Yeah.
And I get in this zone and I can't get out of it where I just care too much. I care. Why? I shouldn't care that they lost one game. I mean, to the Nationals, maybe I should care more, but they lost one game to the Cardinals.
That should have won that game, though.
Yeah. But I shouldn't care that much that they lost one game. But was I mad? Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to be when they lose one game. But the fact that they've won, 8 out of their last 10 series?
Yeah.
Or something like that is
8 out of 10 series that they've had with Topper.
It's exactly what you wanted this team to do.
Right.
And are they still inconsistent? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically offensively, they are still inconsistent.
Right.
But the bullpen has settled into this zone. And I think taking Knebel out of that closer role was the best thing that's happened to this bullpen. Because that guy coming in the 7th is a whole different pitcher than the guy that comes in the 9th. The curveball's been better. I mean, he's still a little erratic with the fastball. But I think the difference, like that curveball, he's able to throw for strikes now. And having Sir Anthony as the guy on the end throwing 98 mile per hour like sinkers.
Darts to Soto today. He threw 5 straight pitches 100 miles an hour to Soto
throwing
today.
98 mile per hour sinkers is, I mean, I'll be honest, I was jealous of the Cardinals. They had 3 guys come in who were throwing like 101, like just back to back to back. Like that's what I want our bullpens to be. I mean, Alvarado in his last couple games has been lights out.
Yeah, he looks like he's back.
3 straight strikeouts tonight.
Yeah.
On just some nasty, like 100 mile per hour cutters.
Yep.
So we talked about this when it happened. I told you that I was concerned if Thompson was going to be able to make a decision like this. If he like thought he had the authority and the sort of respect in the clubhouse to make a decision like that. And he did it, and he did it the right way. From all accounts, he talked to Knebel personally, told him what the deal was going to be. You know, Knebel's allowed to not be happy with it, which is his right. You know, as a professional athlete, you're not going to be happy when someone tells you you sort of lost your job or your role. Kudos to him for stepping up and getting into this new role and obviously pitching great. But it had to happen, and it happened, and I think it's gotten the bullpen to the best version of itself. This bullpen is not great still, right? This is not an elite bullpen. But they're becoming the best version of themselves, and we're seeing that can help us win ball games. Whereas in the past 7 years, whenever we got to the bullpen, we were like, well, like, this is a loss. Like, here we go. No matter when, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th inning, it doesn't matter. Like, a huge shout out to like Nick Nelson, who's been pitching great.
Yep.
Again, not as a closer. Shocking. The guy's not a closer and shouldn't be used in that capacity. Has been a great middleman and a long man to get through like the 5th and 6th innings. And it's just been, the offensive inconsistency will continue to frustrate me to no end. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as to like why that's happening. But the bullpen has been the biggest sort of revelation over these past 10 series.
Yeah. So let me just talk a little bit to the pen real quickly as a positive, and then we'll move to another positive before we have to go negative for just a little bit. Actually, we're going to sandwich it. We're going to go positive, few negatives, and then a positive.
Positive right into the Phixated. I like it.
Yes. So, which is a negative. So the
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be me angry. The Phillies bullpen for the last 2 weeks been the best in Major League Baseball. And that's fact. It's not me just hyperbole throwing that out there. It's fact. Listen to this. Number 1 in ERA over the last 2 weeks. Number 1 in FIP, which is fielding independent pitching. So everything that like the pitcher controls. So strikeouts, like walks that are not intentional, home runs, all of those strikeouts, like all of those things that the pitcher controls, they're number 1 in. First in WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched. First in WAR, wins above replacement. First in walks per 9 innings. First in batting average against. Like, Regs, like, this is not something we're used to when it comes to Philadelphia Phillies bullpens, as you just alluded to. They're also first in something called Sierra, which hang tight with me because the explanation is a little bit like it's the opposite of what I just talked about with FIP.
Okay.
Which is basically the things that they don't control.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not the greatest example because there's a lot of fielding that goes around it, but that means they're making hitters put the ball in play.
Yeah.
Where fielders can make plays because the Phillies defense isn't incredible.
It's not great.
So, like you mentioned, we have not been able to say this about a bullpen over the last 5 to 7 years, whatever it may be. I think our last good bullpen was when Papelbon was the closer.
Yeah.
And, there have been some signings that haven't panned out, and it's fair to say that. Familia's been bad.
God, if that guy, I never want that guy to step on the mound ever again.
So he actually pitched a pretty good inning in the first game of the National Series, I agree with you. I agree with you entirely. But that signing hasn't worked out. I think what they're doing with Alvarado now is what they should do with Familia, which is basically set up in the middle of the plate and just throw the ball to the glove. Because there's so much natural movement on both Familia
those guys
and
can't spot pitches.
No, so just set up in the middle of the plate and throw.
Just throw it, right?
And see what happens. Because the stuff is good enough, and we're seeing that with Alvarado right now, and he's gaining confidence. And a nasty Alvarado is going to be awesome to see. Nick Nelson looks phenomenal. You just mentioned it. I mean, he came in today and threw 2 scoreless.
Yep.
After Bailey couldn't get him out of the got him through 4, but couldn't get through the 5th. So Nelson comes in, shuts it down. But I also think about the flexibility of Nick Nelson, because while he does that really well right now, think about the game we were at. They had nobody left in the pen. Wheeler went 7. What does Topper do? Calls for Nelson in the 8th.
Yeah.
And he looked great.
Yeah.
He comes out pumping 98.
Right.
He's like, oh, I only have to throw an inning, whatever. I'll throw 98.
Yeah.
And who's been the biggest revelation for me? Not Sir Anthony, not the change for Knable, not Brad Hand, who still I think we're gonna have.
Yeah, he's still
the
one. Yep.
We're gonna see a little decline as the season goes on. We're not gonna stick to that low 2 ERA. It's been Bilotti.
Yeah.
I mean, what a sign! And here's the thing, Rex. We still got Sam Coonrod coming back.
Yeah.
Who, when he was healthy last year, was really good. Jojo Romero's on the way back. And he was lights out in 2020 for them.
Brogdon's out, right?
Brogdon will be back soon.
Yep.
And he was lights out before he went on the COVID list.
Yeah.
So basically before, this was an area where we were at the deadline, they got to go get somebody.
Yep.
But if they're going to let Sir Anthony be the guy in the 9th, then they don't have to. They don't have to go get someone. Could they? Absolutely. And would I be angry about it? No.
Yeah.
But with the reinforcements that are coming just through their natural 40-man, I don't know that I feel the need. They also have Ryan Sheriff, the guy they got from the Rays, who pitched really well in spring training and got hurt. So it's another lefty that they could put out there if they have to. So I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like the bullpen is a place that I want them to focus on right now, because they've been so good. I think that there's enough arm talent there to get them to the right place. But if they want Sir Anthony to go back to the fireman role, where he comes in and pitches to the best. Now tonight it worked out perfectly because he ended up facing 1, 2, 3 in the 9th.
Yeah.
And you want Sir Anthony facing Soto,
right,
and you want Sir Anthony facing Bell. So it worked out. It's not going to work that way every time. You might need to use him in the 8th to get through those 3 guys.
Yep.
But we'll see. So the bullpen's been a revelation. And here's the thing that I just want to highlight before we move into some of the negatives. I want to highlight that I think some of this has to do with Rob Thompson. Because this is, you mentioned, is he going to have the courage to just make these decisions? And he clearly does.
Yeah.
This is the way a bullpen's supposed to work. If you're not getting the job done, you don't get to pitch the innings.
Right.
You don't get to pitch the important innings.
Right.
And if you're going to get the job done, then you're going to get the important innings. He's going to trust Nick Nelson. He's going to trust Bilotti. Mm-hmm. He's going to trust Sir Anthony. He's going to trust Brad Hand. these guys are going to get these opportunities, and Familia is going to throw the 6th inning of a 5-run game.
It's professional sports. Nothing is more performance based than professional sports.
Right. But before that wasn't it.
No,
like
it was
Girardi was running Familia out.
Philosophies.
Correct. We have a rule that he cannot pitch. So guess what?
Oh my
I'm going
God.
to use Familia. Like, oh God, I'm so glad he's gone.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So while that's going really well, there are things that are not.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. Go ahead.
I want to read the tweet that I retweeted from Todd Zalecki.
Please.
So, Nationals 3, Phillies 2. Kyle Schwarber homers twice. Aaron Nola pitches well. But defense hurts him. Phillies 3-4-5 hitters go 1-12 with 9 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And I quote tweeted it, and I said, I'm not sure why this isn't getting more attention. Any combination of 3-4-5 hitters that does not include Bryce Harper has been abysmal. Mainly Real Muto and Castellanos.
Mm-hmm. So let's start here. The reason it didn't get more attention is because of a bad play in the outfield.
Sure.
That's why it didn't get more attention last night. Most of the focus was there. And there's probably a couple layers to that, but why don't we start with who I feel is the biggest culprit in the offensive struggles? Because as much as we want to criticize JT, he is starting to come around a little bit. Like, we're seeing signs of JT, even if it's sporadically. Like, he had the big hit at the game we were at.
It's sporadic.
He actually had 3 hits that night too. And you know what? JT is still, and again, I know this is not the be all end all. I know. But he's still throwing out 50% of base runners that try and steal on him. So he's at least producing defensively, which I can't necessarily say the same for the other guy we're about to talk about, because God, watching him play the outfield is surely an adventure. When we got both Schwarber and Castellanos, if you would have told me that Castellanos was the worst outfielder, I don't think I would have agreed. But now watching them.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, Bryce's injury, like, that guy's playing way more outfield than we wanted him to.
Right. I just I don't know what made me think that, like, he was a better outfielder than Schwarber.
Yeah.
But I think Schwarber's actually a better outfielder. So, all right. So let's just talk about Nick. It's the elephant in the room. I tweeted it today. I'm worried. I wasn't, but I am. He's got his worst chase rate in his career, which to me, Regs, makes it feel more mental than anything.
He looks like he has no idea what pitch is coming when he's at the
plate. Interesting tweet from a new follow that I found. I'm actually going to try and see if this person will end up coming on the show to talk to us a little bit. It's called Philly Savant, and very in-depth statistics every single night. Very interesting follow. Just let me run through this. His first season of his 5-year $100 million contract. His hard hit percentage, 23rd percentile in baseball. His whiff percentage, 12th percentile in baseball. His chase rate, 5th percentile in baseball. Average exit velocity, 29th percentile. He has a WAR under 1. It's actually in the negatives. It's below 0. He's got a negative 0.7 WAR. These are not good.
No.
I don't think I need to, like, say it, but I'm gonna. These are not good. I'm very worried because at this point, so there's 2 buckets that I'm thinking about. I think some of it's mental, but I also think some of it's physical. And I don't know if I mentioned this on previous show, and I apologize if I didn't. But do you remember that 7-1 game against the Mets that they ended up blowing?
Yeah.
Do you remember him getting hit in the wrist?
No, for some reason.
Okay, so he got hit in the wrist late in that game.
Okay.
And I don't remember if he stayed in or not. I really cannot remember if he stayed in the game. Part of me thinks he didn't. He didn't. But he's now wearing a huge, like, brace on his wrist. And if there, I'll try and find a tweet while you're talking a little bit about the Castellanos stuff. There's somewhere that, like, has a comparison of his numbers before that night and after that night, and it is absolutely wild, like, the difference in his numbers. So I almost wonder if he's hurt and he's just playing through it.
So I'm with you, and while you look for your tweet,
go for it.
That doesn't account to the swing rate stuff.
No, he's definitely there's some mental stuff.
the complete lack of confidence, or he literally, he doesn't look like he knows what pitch is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Schmidt on a Sunday broadcast a few weeks ago, he was like, Nick's in some kind of place. He's swinging at balls and looking at strikes. He's like, look, everybody's been there, but this is where he's at. Like something's mixed up in his head. And I got to tell you, man, the whole reason this dude was brought here was to protect Bryce Harper. And right now we couldn't protect Mickey Moniak, who's hitting 120. Like, I have more confidence in Bryson Stott or Mickey Moniak or Derek Hall, who's come up for, this is his 4th game he's ever played in the majors.
We're going to talk about him in a little bit.
To like swing at better pitches and give me a better at bat than Castellanos these past couple weeks. Every hit is a broken bat blooper. Like, he hit I think he had a double tonight, but like maybe he hits one ball hard out of like every third night. This is a guy who hit the ball hard everywhere in Cincinnati. Everywhere he hit the ball was hit hard, no matter where it went. And something's not right. I don't know what it is. Again, maybe the physical thing is contributing to the sort of exit velocity stuff. But his at-bats are terrible. He doesn't give himself a chance. His swing and misses are like, they're up there with JT now. JT goes up there and swings at the first 2 pitches and goes down 0-2 80% of the time. Nick at this point couldn't tell a changeup from like the back of his hand if he wanted to. He's guessing on every pitch. He's not anticipating. He's not seeing what the pitch is doing. He's just guessing. And it's leading to it's terrible. It's up to the point where if he comes up with runners on base, you can't feel good about it. And the fact that we have this guy, like, I know we signed him for a long time, and I'm not saying this will continue for the remainder of his time with us, but like, if you ever needed a guy to step up to help this team get over a hump, it's when Gene Segura and Bryce Harper are out of the lineup. This is the whole reason we brought Schwarber and Castellanos here. To be the guys who could carry this lineup. And, you know, we'll get to this, but like, God praise, Kyle Schwarber. Because that dude. But Nick is not holding up his end of the bargain with this stuff. And I don't know if I would feel better or not if it came out that his wrist was hurt. I don't think I would feel better because of the swing rate stuff. If he just wasn't hitting the ball as hard and maybe not having as many extra base hits or home runs or things like that, okay, fine. Your wrist is hurt. I get it. That contributes to that. But to not have any idea what a baseball's doing when you're at bat is not what we expected out of this guy.
Yeah. So I found the tweet. He got hit on the wrist on May 5th.
Okay.
Now, let's take you to that night. He was hitting 308. His on-base percentage was 379. His slugging percentage was 506. Okay, so about a month into the season, that's where he was at. Since that night, now this tweet was June 29th, so we're another week after that now. Since then, 221, OBP of 264, slugging percentage of 323. So, again, we'll never know because he seems like the type of guy who's not going to say one way or the other.
Right.
But like, I do think there's a possibility, Regs, that if it is in fact physical, the mental component of trying to do too much because you're struggling so much physically. You're an athlete. You get this. Like, you're in pain, but you still want to work through it. You want to produce.
Right.
that becomes taxing mentally. This is a guy who sat there and said, I get paid to hit baseballs. And he said in front of that in front of the entire city. And now he's not able to hit baseballs. If it is the wrist, hopefully a week of rest with the All-Star break coming up helps.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'd rather him take a DL stint and try and work through it, but I understand why he's not. You're making $20 million a year, and if it's not broken, you're trying to work through it. But I also know, a sore wrist trying to hit a baseball.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
Yeah.
It's not something that gets better.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be dealing with that until you have a chance to rest it and really rest it.
Yeah.
Not swinging a bat every day. And right now he feels like he has to. So, I hope he comes out of it. I like Nick Castellanos. I think the fan base has really stayed behind him. Despite the struggles.
We all really want him to do well.
Well, he's likable.
Yeah.
He's likable. He's perfect for the city. He's likable. He's clearly a leader that the younger kids really respect. Seems like a great teammate, and he's not out there not trying.
Yeah, right.
He certainly wants to succeed. So kind of reminds me of that Pat Burrell struggle year.
Yeah.
So hopefully he turns it around. Here's a guy that we can't get behind. Odubel Herrera. we got to go there for a few minutes.
Just a few because Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Last night, that inning, I feel like is partly Aaron Nola's fault. Let a couple of guys on base. That ball was smoked.
Yeah.
That Odubel misjudged. But I do think Moniak and Vierling. Moniak makes that play. Vierling,
he's got a better chance at least.
Yeah, he gets turned around sometimes, but competent center fielders make that play.
Bottom line. That's the bottom line.
I've watched enough baseball to know that a good center fielder, Shane Victorino makes that play.
Yes.
He absolutely makes that play. This isn't the first time we've watched Odubel get turned around or misjudge a ball.
Yeah.
At what point, Regs, are we just going to bite the bullet on the $1.5 million that we're paying him and just DFA the guy?
We have to at some point.
Offensively, it's a wasteland.
Yes.
He's not. Look, Moniak's not a world beater offensively, but if Moniak's going to play a couple nights a week,
I don't want to take away the at bats from Moniak at this point.
I'm going to say Vierling.
Okay,
I'd rather Vierling play every day.
Either way, either one of them, we're taking away at bats from these guys to put this guy out who's no better at the plate and worse as a center fielder.
Yeah. And I do think it's a possibility because they apparently see Vierling as super utility now. I think it's a possibility that they acquire a rental center fielder at the deadline, like a Michael Taylor or something like that. And I just think it's time. And look, I was a big Odubel guy back when he was an all-star. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I thought he was really talented. And at that point, he hit the ball. He made some boneheaded plays. Fine. But the guy could hit. He straight up could hit. That is gone now. And look, he's clearly not a great human being. Unfortunately. So, it's at some point you just got to cut your losses. He's just not. I'd rather see Vierling and Moniak just play.
Yep.
And if they're not doing well in 2 weeks, then you go acquire somebody else. Real quickly, Evelyn and Ranger being hurt, concern? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
specifically.
They have to get someone at the deadline to help the rotation.
Starting pitching is my top priority.
It's the number one priority.
Yeah. They need somebody to stick behind Wheeler and Nola that is not just a dude, but a dude.
Yeah.
A dude.
Yep.
It's got to be somebody that you have confidence in. Yep. So that's a big concern of mine right now. All right, couple of big positives, and then we'll move into the Phixated. Derek Hall.
Awesome.
Kind of a revelation.
Really, yeah, great.
Again, we're going to have to see second time around the league, right?
Anywhere, so Castellanos could get some days off in the outfield.
Yeah.
But we can't, obviously, because he's a first baseman.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's not going to be possible.
getting confidence, having some good at bats, going up there, obviously has the power.
Yeah.
But
hits the ball really hard.
But not going up there looking to mash everything. I think his like you said, his at bats have been really good. For the most part.
He's strong. He's country strong.
Yeah.
He hits the ball really hard. The balls he's hitting in center field right now are just smoke. They're scorched.
Mm-hmm.
He will not hit against lefties. He is putrid against lefties.
Yeah. That's
so
an issue.
I think those are the days where they consider getting Castellanos off his feet a little bit.
Yep.
And letting him DH, and maybe Vierling plays right on those days, or get a double out there if you really want to. But Derek Hall's been a little bit of a revelation. I don't know what happens when Bryce comes back.
I think unfortunately he's not on the team, but
I think it's going to depend on what the rest of the roster looks like at that point, because you could have injuries. Someone like Gregorius could be hurt. There's all sorts of, because Gregorius is hurt right now. He's just playing because they need to stem the tide till the All-Star break, and if they can get Segura back after the break, then good. And then if Gregorius needs the DL or the IL, he can go there.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate positive right now, like Regs, Kyle Schwarber.
Oh my God.
This is just insane.
What is happening?
Look, we knew that this dude could, his power is outrageous.
Yeah.
We know that. 2-3 weeks ago, he was hitting 180.
Yeah.
He's bumped himself up to 225.
Yep.
Not to jump off course here, but tip of the cap to Rhys Hoskins too, because
for sure.
Down to 215 at one point, he's up to 250. So kudos to him. He's been red hot as well.
1-2 combo is keeping this team alive.
Yeah, and you know what? Rhys's new stance, the straight up lean back, it's definitely made a difference for him.
Yeah.
He kind of has a right-handed version of what Schwarbs does now.
Yep.
But what Kyle Schwarber's doing, I tweeted last night that we've never seen anything like it, and that's sort of a lie.
Harper in the second half of last year.
Well, I was going to go even further back. When Ryan Howard was.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
You had to stop what you were doing just to watch Ryan Howard. And last night I found myself, I was in the kitchen, I was eating dinner during his second at bat. Yeah, I think it was his second at bat. And I heard that he was hitting, and I was like, Andrea, I'll be right back. And I had to go watch, because that's where we're at right now. Every at bat, there's a possibility for him to do something special. And when he hits them, dude, they're not cheap.
Oh my God, no.
They are just, they're absolutely crushed.
I was watching on the MLB app, because obviously being in Baltimore, we have to watch the Nationals broadcast. Ugh. And as much as I cannot do that, I literally watch on mute if I turn it on the television.
Yeah.
Because those guys are not, aside from Kevin Phriends, and he's much better than that effing JP guy who left. That guy
Kevin
was something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I was watching on my phone, and it was literally 8:45, and I'm with my 7-year-old son, who should be in bed at this point. But I see Kyle Schwarber's coming up, and I'm like, Cole, let's watch on the game day, so you can see the pitches come in. He struck out ultimately, but again, it's like you said, you have to stop what you're doing, and see what's going to happen. Yeah,
I think it really is special. He's on pace for 50 home runs.
That's crazy,
and there's part of me that wants him in the Derby, and then there's part of me that's like, no, don't go near the Derby.
I don't want him. Nope, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I want him in the Derby to beat Pete Alonso.
Oh, well.
But I don't want him in the Derby because we know sometimes what can happen.
Yep.
And we need him.
Yes.
To stem the tide for us until Bryce gets back. And but we are very lucky right now. He's another guy who's just come in and been the necessary leader that the team has needed. He's always front and center in a post-game interview. I joked earlier about but that dude is wearing his American flag shorts every time I watch batting practice. It's just, sometimes you're lucky enough to see something special. We saw it with Ryan Howard when he was in his prime. We saw it with Rhys Hoskins when he first came up and went on that huge tear. And we saw it last year with Bryce.
Yep.
And so this team just feels different because I actually believe that they're a good enough team to get to the playoffs and win in the playoffs. And right now, as of today, they're a playoff team. I find myself rooting for the Braves as I sit here and they're in the 10th inning, because if they win, we're actually like the team in the playoffs with a big series against St. Louis coming up. So we'll see. I mean, I need them to get to the break. They have 4 with the Cardinals, split with the Cardinals, win a series in Miami, and split with the Blue Jays in a 2-game series, and they'll be in good shape. So we're going to have to see what happens when they go to Toronto. It's a 2-game series, but there are going to be some guys that probably won't be able to play because of vaccination status.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not some of the important guys, but yeah, we're definitely playoff Phils, Regs.
I love it.
Playoff Phils.
I needed it more in my life.
I would love nothing more than for them to have a 3-game series against the Mets and to beat the Mets.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, we'd have to beat Scherzer and DeGrom, but
DeGrom will be hurt again. It'll be fine.
Probably Scherzer too. Actually, they'll both be hurt, and we'll go Wheeler, Nola, and give me. I don't care. Just give me another starter. Just give me another starter. All right. Speaking of the Mets, ready for my fixated?
I'm ready.
Regs, I didn't know that I would ever dislike another Met as much as I dislike Brendan Nimmo.
It would have been tough. The odds would have been against it.
But Chris Bassett.
Again, who's ever heard of this guy either?
I mean, he's pretty good.
I had to Google him. I was like, what team does he play for?
Yeah, he's pretty good. He used to pitch for the A's.
Okay.
He's pretty good. But so you saw the comments. For those that didn't see the comments, I'm going to pull them up to make sure I don't misquote it. Just give me one moment. I sent it to Regs earlier. I was super angry about it. Where is my conversation with you, Regs? Here it is. All right. Here's the tweet. The tweet is from Anthony DiComo, who I believe is a Mets beat writer. Yeah, he works for MLB.com. He comes off, so Chris Bassett, who will come off the COVID IL to start tomorrow, expressed frustration at a system that sidelined him despite the fact that, quote, I was never sick, never had a symptom. He says he reported his positive test out of a feeling of obligation, but might not in the future. Well, Chris, you're a jerk. And I look, I mean, so good for you. Like, you didn't experience severe symptoms. That's awesome.
Right.
That's great. Fantastic. I'm happy that he's okay. Like, I truly am. I don't want the man to be sick. I don't want him to have bad symptoms. I don't want anybody to experience that, which is why I'm going to say what I'm about to say and why I'm fixated, because he's not the only person that feels this way.
No, he's not.
And that's whatever your beliefs are. Here's what I need you to understand.
No, you're an idiot if you think that way.
Right, but I'm not going to change anybody's mind, and I know that.
No, you're not, but we have to acknowledge that you're an idiot.
Right, because here's the thing. Riggs, I had COVID. We talked about this.
Yep.
And I could have absolutely worked.
Mm-hmm.
I could have lied about my test. I could have gone into work. I would have made it through the week. Would I have felt like crap? Absolutely. Absolutely. But was I sick enough to miss work? No, I wasn't. And I did what he did. I reported it out of a feeling of obligation, not obligation to get in trouble versus not get in trouble, but obligation to the people that I work with.
Yeah.
Because in my building, there are people who, if they get it, they're at high risk of more serious illness, or someone in their family is at risk of more serious illness. Look, these guys are in peak condition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're professional athletes that maybe none of them would experience terrible symptoms or get sick or terribly sick. But what about a clubhouse attendant or one of the trainers or one of the coaches?
Yep.
Or one of their family members?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be selfish. Like, I get you're frustrated and that you felt fine. Connor Brogdon said he felt fine, but he didn't make a stupid comment like this.
Yeah.
This is the most selfish mindset that you can possibly have about a freaking pandemic. Like, we're still in a pandemic, Rags. And this is your mindset? Oh, next time I might not do it. If I were to get it again, I wouldn't report it. Cool, bro. You're a big guy. Good for you. Hope you feel good about yourself. Hope that made you feel tough. Like, you look dumb. You look dumb. Like, no one's impressed. No one's impressed. I'm not impressed. And I guarantee you that, I don't know, I can probably think of a very select handful of people that are impressed. Like, very select few in my life.
Most of them have Fox News under their name.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what? So I guess what I'm fixated on tonight is just don't be selfish.
Be
like
a decent human being, people.
Just again, like if you think whatever you think about this whole thing, please understand that people are impacted by it. Like, people are impacted by it. If you're like, again, I could have gone to work, would have been fine. I didn't feel great, but it's something I would have worked through in the past.
Like almost everything in life, it's not about you.
No, and making that statement is very much
right.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue, and I'm pissed off that I missed starts because of it. And maybe he thinks he's being selfless because he's saying this for his team, but it's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
It's a dumb thing to say. And it just gives me more reason to hate the Mets. I mean, seriously, there is one likable player on that team. It's Francisco Lindor. There is not another likable player. I actually did like Bassett before. I had no problem with the guy, but now I have a problem with him.
Yep. Now there's a problem.
Like, what a jerk.
Yep. Just
what a jerk.
Stupid.
So that's what I'm fixated on tonight. Chris Bassett being just a selfish jerk.
Put him on the list.
Put him on the list. He's right there with Brandon Nimmo.
There you go. It's not a list you want to be on, people.
No, I mean, how do you even get that close? Like, and here's the thing. Brandon Nimmo never did anything other than just sprint to first base. This guy's just an idiot.
Well, yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's just a selfish jerk. All right, Regs. Thanks for hanging out tonight, man.
Hey, glad to be back. I'm so happy you enjoyed your vacation.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
glad to be back on the podcast, back on the YouTube channel, back to talking to the people. It's always good.
Yeah. So people, thank you for listening. We're probably going to do an earlier week show next week because I'm heading to Louisville for a conference, so I won't be able to record on Thursday night. So Regs and I will probably be recording. We talked about Tuesday. We'll let you guys know.
Yep.
But in the meantime, while you're listening or if you're watching, make sure you click subscribe in the box right below us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the pod wherever you get your pods, Apple, Spotify, wherever that may be. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Phixated Pod. Make sure you follow the platform at B&B Podcast, and make sure you follow me at the Mic Drop 5. I've been tweeting from both accounts recently, trying to do a little bit of both. Keep that rolling. We will be back at some point, probably early next week. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Be safe, be good, and be kind to someone.
Take care, everyone. Everybody. We'll see you next week.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.